Here's something nobody tells you about retirement: you can have all the money in the world and still feel completely lost. You can spend 30 years building your nest egg, calculating your withdrawal rate, optimizing your 401k, and checking your portfolio every single day. But then retirement actually arrives, and suddenly you realize you prepared your bank account, but you forgot to prepare yourself. The scariest part isn't running out of money. The scariest part is waking up on a Tuesday morning with nothing to do, nowhere to be, and no idea who you are anymore. This is Finance Flash, and today we're talking about the retirement crisis nobody sees coming. Most Americans are so obsessed with hitting their magic retirement number that they never ask the most important question of all. What am I actually going to do when I get there? We're not just talking about hobbies or travel plans. We're talking about identity, purpose, meaning, and the reason you get out of bed every single morning when nobody's paying you to do it anymore. I'm about to walk you through the Retirement Lifestyle Scorecard. This isn't about your portfolio balance or dividend income. This is about whether you're prepared to actually live the retirement you've been dreaming about, because financial security without life satisfaction is just expensive. Boredom. Let's make sure you're ready for both. Why your 401k won't save you from this. Here's what the financial industry doesn't want you to know: retirement planning is broken. We've been sold this idea that retirement is a math problem. Hit your number, claim Social Security at the right age, diversify your portfolio, and boom, you're set for life. But retirement isn't lived inside a spreadsheet. Retirement is lived in days, thousands of them, and the happiest retirees aren't the ones with the biggest bank accounts. They're the ones who answered a deeper question before they left their jobs. Who do I want to be when nobody needs me anymore? When that answer is missing, even millionaires end up miserable. I've seen it happen over and over again. Financially secure people, 6 months into retirement, feeling restless, bored, disconnected, even depressed. They didn't do anything wrong financially. They just forgot to plan for the living part. This is what happens when you optimize for money, but forget to optimize for meaning. You can have $3 million in your retirement account and still feel empty inside. Because money solves money problems, it doesn't solve identity problems, purpose problems, or loneliness problems. That's exactly why this scorecard exists. We're going to reverse engineer your ideal retirement, figure out what you actually want your life to look like, and then make sure your money supports that vision. Because if you design your retirement around your portfolio instead of around your life, you're going to end up rich and miserable. Your retirement reality check. Here's how this works. I'm going to walk you through 5 critical pillars of retirement readiness. These aren't financial metrics, these are life metrics. For each pillar, you're going to score yourself from 1 to 5. 1 means I'm completely unprepared. 5 means I'm locked in and ready to go. Add up your scores at the end, and you'll know exactly where you stand, not just financially, but emotionally, physically, and socially. Pillar 1, identity and purpose. Let's start with the hardest one. Who are you when you're not working anymore? Most Americans have no idea how much of their identity is wrapped up in their job title. For 30 or 40 years, you've been saying, I'm a nurse, I'm an engineer, I'm a teacher. That's how you introduce yourself. That's how you think about yourself. That's how others see you. Then one day, you retire. And suddenly, you go from I am to I was. You're not a teacher anymore, you're a retired teacher. It sounds subtle, but emotionally, it's devastating. Because now you're standing in your kitchen on a Wednesday morning asking yourself, who am I now? What do I do with myself? This is the unspoken crisis of retirement. It's not market crashes or inflation. It's the complete loss of identity that nobody warned you about. I saw this happen to my own father. He was a dentist, loved his work, loved his patients, loved being needed every single day. He tried retiring multiple times, and every time he got restless and went back to work. It wasn't about the money, he had plenty saved. It was about the identity, the purpose, the feeling of being someone who mattered. When he finally retired for good in his early 70s, he hated it. Not because retirement was bad, but because he had no plan for who he wanted to be next. He lost his role, his daily structure, his sense of contribution. If you're a parent, you might have already lived a version of this when your kids moved out. One day you're needed for everything, and the next day, they're gone. Your role completely changed overnight. Here's what you need to ask yourself right now. What gives my life meaning when nobody's paying me to show up? Where will I feel like I'm contributing something valuable? What activities make me feel proud, curious, or fully alive? You need something pulling you forward, not pushing you backward into nostalgia or regret. Maybe that's finally getting serious about your health and fitness. Maybe it's starting a passion project you never had time for: woodworking, writing, volunteering, mentoring. Maybe it's joining a community organization that actually makes a difference. The point is, you need a reason to get out of bed that has nothing to do with money or obligation. Score yourself 1 to 5 right now. 1 means I have no clue who I'll be in retirement. 5 means I have a clear vision of my next chapter, and I'm genuinely excited about it. Research shows that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer, stay healthier, stay socially engaged, and have way less stress in retirement. Purpose isn't something you stumble into by accident. It's something you choose intentionally. Real quick, if this perspective is hitting different for you, tap that like button. Your support genuinely keeps this channel alive and helps us reach more Americans who need real financial education. Every single like tells YouTube that this content matters. Every subscription means we can keep making videos that actually change lives. We're building something real here at Finance Flash, and you're part of that. Pillar 2. Health and vitality. Here's the brutal truth: retirement isn't just a financial timeline. It's a health timeline. For most Americans, your 60s and 70s are your golden window. This is when you have the most time, the most freedom, and the most mobility to actually enjoy life. But that window doesn't stay open forever. The choices you're making right now determine whether you spend your retirement hiking national parks or sitting in a doctor's waiting room. Ask yourself honestly, do I have the physical capacity to live the retirement I'm imagining? Am I investing in habits today that support my future self? Because people don't age in a straight line. They age into very different patterns, and you get to choose which one you follow. Pattern 1 is what researchers call compressed morbidity. About 20 to 30% of people follow this path. These are people who stay strong, active, and independent well into their 80s and 90s, that experience a rapid decline only in the final year or two of life. Long, vibrant, healthy life, then a short, dignified exit. That's the goal. The people who age this way share specific traits. They're physically active, socially connected, they have purpose, and they prioritize strength training. Pattern 2 is the slow decline, and unfortunately 70 to 80% of Americans follow this path. A gradual loss of strength, balance, and independence starting in your mid-60s. Chronic conditions piling up, year after year. Decades of reduced mobility and increasing dependence on others. This isn't inevitable, it's the default when you don't actively intervene. Here's the empowering part: this trajectory is not fixed. You can move yourself from the yellow line to the green line, and science backs this up completely. A study from the University of Copenhagen found that older adults who strength trained for years had muscle fibers almost identical to people in their 40s. Their mitochondrial function was comparable to people 20 to 30 years younger. Another study from McMaster University showed that people in their 70s build muscle at the same rate as people in their 20s when they lift weights. And bone density. The Lift More study found that adults in their 60s and 70s can actually increase bone density through resistance training at an age when most people are losing 1 to 2% per year. Lifelong strength trainers in their 70s often have bone density comparable to people in their 40s and 50s. This isn't genetic luck, this is intentional action. Your body is the multiplier in retirement. It determines how much of your bucket list you actually get to complete, whether your money goes toward experiences and freedom or toward medical bills and long-term care. How long you stay independent. Score yourself 1 to 5 right now. 1 means my health will probably limit the retirement I want. 5 means my habits today are setting me up to thrive for decades. Your portfolio funds your retirement, but your body lets you live it. Pillar 3. Social. Connection and community. This might be the most underrated pillar on this entire list. Here's what happens to most people when they retire: their social circle collapses overnight. Your coworkers were probably your main source of daily interaction. Your job gave you structure, belonging, and a built-in community. Then you retire, and suddenly silence. If you don't have relationships outside of work, retirement can feel shockingly isolating. So ask yourself right now, who will I spend time with when my work circle disappears? Am I actively building friendships and community now? Do I have people in my life where I feel seen, supported, and genuinely connected? Your answer to these questions doesn't just affect your happiness, it affects your health and your lifespan. The Harvard study of adult development followed people for over 80 years. Their conclusion? Close relationships are the single strongest predictor of long-term health and happiness, stronger than wealth, stronger than genetics, stronger than career success. A meta-analysis of 3.4 million adults found that loneliness and social isolation increase your mortality risk by 26 to 32%. That's the same impact as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Being lonely is as deadly as being a smoker. Older adults with strong social networks show slower cognitive decline, lower dementia risk, and better memory retention. They also have better balance, better mobility, and overall physical functioning comparable to people 5 to 10 years younger. So, how do you build this into your life before you retire? Maybe you move to a walkable neighborhood where you naturally run into people. Maybe you join a club, a church group, a book club, a pickleball league, a volunteer organization. Maybe you start hosting weekly game nights or dinners with friends. Warren Buffett said something that's always stuck with me. If you want to be loved, be lovable. You can't buy love. I've tried, and it doesn't work. There are some things money just can't buy: love, friendship, belonging, connection. And yet those are the things that matter most for your health and happiness in retirement. Score yourself 1 to 5. 1 means I'm honestly not sure who I'll spend time with in retirement. 5 means I have a strong, intentional community that supports me. Because retirement satisfaction exponentially increases with meaningful connection. Pillar 4. Daily structure and rhythm. Here's what most people get wrong about retirement. They think it's one big, endless vacation. It's not. Retirement is an entirely new rhythm of life. And the happiest retirees aren't the ones with the most freedom. They're the ones with the most intentionality. When you remove work, you remove structure, routine, social interaction, and a built-in sense of purpose. If you don't consciously replace those things, your days start feeling shapeless and aimless. That's one of the biggest contributors to retirement dissatisfaction, when all your days just blend together. So ask yourself, what does my ideal Tuesday look like? How do I want my mornings to feel? What small rituals give me energy and momentum? Do I want a predictable routine, or do I prefer soft structure with room for spontaneity? Here are some simple ways to build light structure into your life. Have a gentle morning routine, maybe a daily walk, coffee on the porch, reading for 30 minutes. Go to the gym 3 times a week. Have lunch with a friend twice a week. Sign up for a class and dedicate time to learning something new. These aren't just tasks, they're identity-building rituals. Score yourself 1 to 5. 1 means I have no idea what my days will look like in retirement. 5 means I know the rhythms that make me feel energized, grounded, and fulfilled. Structure isn't about restriction, it's about support. It's what turns your life from time to fill into a life worth living. Pillar 5. Financial alignment with your lifestyle. Finally, the money part. This is where most people start, but it's actually where everything comes together. Retirement isn't just about having money. It's about having the right money in the right places to support the right life for you. Ask yourself honestly, do my spending patterns actually support the lifestyle I want? Or am I just spending out of habit? Are my fixed costs low enough that I have flexibility? Do I understand how my spending will change throughout retirement? Does my portfolio match the lifestyle risk I'm actually comfortable with? Does my withdrawal strategy support my goals without creating constant anxiety? Here's the real value of this pillar. Most people design their lifestyle around their money, but the happiest retirees design their money around their lifestyle. They ask, what do I actually want my life to look like? What does that cost? And does my financial plan naturally support it? Score yourself 1 to 5. 1 means my money feels disconnected from the retirement I actually want. 5 means my financial plan fully supports the lifestyle I've envisioned, with margin, confidence, and clarity. This is the pillar where money becomes a tool for living the life you want. Your total score. What IT means, add up your 5 pillar scores. Your total will be somewhere between 5 and 25. Here's how to interpret your score. 23 to 25, lifestyle ready. You have alignment across all 5 pillars. Your finances support your goals. Your routines energize you. Your health habits are strong. You have meaningful connections and a clear sense of purpose. You're not just prepared, you're intentional. 19 to 22, strong foundation. You're in a solid place, but 1 or 2 areas might need attention. Identify the weak spots and tend to them now. A few targeted adjustments could take your retirement from good to absolutely fulfilling. 13 to 18, lifestyle undefined. This is where most Americans land. You might be clear on your portfolio, but less clear on what your days will actually look like. This score is a signal that you need clarity. It's not a problem, it's an opportunity. 5 to 12, high opportunity zone. This isn't a bad score, it's a wake-up call. You've probably been so focused on hitting your financial number that you never thought about the lifestyle side of retirement. A few intentional decisions about identity, community, daily rhythm, and health can completely change your retirement trajectory. The scorecard isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Here's the piece most people miss: retirement satisfaction has less to do with how much money you have and more to do with how well your money supports the life you actually want to live. Retirement isn't about having enough money, it's about having enough life. So, where did you land on these 5 pillars? Did anything surprise you? Drop your score in the comments and let's talk about it. I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to know where you're at. If this video gave you even one new perspective on retirement, please hit that like button. It helps more Americans find content like this. And if you're not subscribed yet, join the Finance Flash family. We post real financial education every single week. No fluff, no hype. just actionable strategies to help you build the retirement you actually deserve. Share this with someone who's thinking about retirement or anyone who needs to hear that retirement is about so much more than just money. We're building something real here, and you're a huge part of that. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.